Olivia Winters smoothed the delicate lace of her wedding gown, fingers trembling as she stared at the handwritten note. The elegant stationery from the Fairmont Hotel felt like sandpaper against her skin. I can't go through with this. You deserve more. I'm sorry. Derek. 8 words. That's all it took to demolish 18 months of her life. Outside the stone walls of Grace Cathedral, 500 guests waited in perfumed anticipation. The governor was there, 2 senators, countless celebrities, all gathered to witness the union of pastry, Chef Olivia Winters and real estate magnate Derek Blackwood in San Francisco's wedding of the year. Miss Winters? The wedding planner, Nora, hovered in the doorway, her professional smile cracking around the edges. We need to make a decision. The string quartet has played the same piece 3 times. Olivia crumpled the note in her fist. What exactly am I supposed to decide? The groom is gone. I've been trying to reach Mr. Blackwood, but his phone is off. His parents are asking questions, and the press is here in force, came a deep voice from the doorway. Roman Blackwood filled the entrance, 6'3" of tailored midnight, suit and carefully controlled fury. Where Derek was California sunshine and easy smiles, his older brother was winter shadows and razor-sharp edges. Roman, Olivia whispered, instinctively reaching up to wipe away tears that hadn't fallen. She'd always been too stubborn to cry easily, even now. Leave us, Roman told the planner, who hesitated only briefly before slipping away. He moved into the room with the deliberate grace of a man who commanded boardrooms and bent corporate empires to his will. At 36, Roman was 5 years older than Derek and infinitely more dangerous. Your brother left, Olivia said, her voice steadier than she felt. Apparently, I wasn't worth sticking around for. Roman's dark eyes swept over her, taking in the hand-beaded bodice, the cathedral train that pooled around her feet like liquid moonlight. Something flickered across his face, an emotion too complex to name. Derek has always been a coward, he said simply. Olivia laughed, a brittle sound. And what does that make me? The fool who believed in fairy tales? The nobody who thought she could belong in your world? You were never nobody, Roman said quietly. That was always the problem. He stepped closer, and Olivia caught his scent. Sandalwood. And something distinctly masculine that made her pulse quicken despite everything. 500 people are out there, she said. Your family's most important connections, international press. My parents spent their retirement fund on this wedding. I'm aware of the situation. Then what do you suggest I do? Walk out there and announce that your brother decided I wasn't worth showing up for? Roman's jaw tightened. No. Then what? Marry me instead. The words hung between them like smoke. Olivia stared at him, certain she'd misheard. That's not funny. I'm not laughing. Roman's expression remained impassive, but something burned in his eyes. The guests get their wedding. The press gets their story. Your parents save face. The Blackwood name remains untarnished. And what do you get? Olivia asked, suspicion threading through her shock. Roman reached out, his thumb brushing across, her cheekbone with unexpected gentleness. That's my concern. You're insane. Probably. His hand lingered near her face. But in 30 seconds, you need to make a decision. Either you walk away from here broken, or you walk down that aisle, with a Blackwood who won't abandon you. Through the ancient walls, Olivia could hear the restless murmur of 500 voices, the delicate notes of Pachelbel's canon, fading and beginning again. This is madness, she whispered. Sometimes madness is the only sane response, Roman replied. He extended his hand. Choose, Olivia. She looked at his outstretched hand, then back to his face, searching for deception or mockery. She found neither. Why would you do this? Because I've watched my brother take for granted what I would have treasured, he said, his voice dropping to a whisper that sent electricity down her spine. Because you deserve better than public humiliation. Because I've waited 2 years to see what you'd look like in a wedding dress. The cathedral bells began to toll, the sound reverberating through stone and bone. In that moment, Olivia Winters made the most reckless decision of her life. She placed her hand in his. The Blackwood penthouse overlooked the glittering San Francisco Bay, 48 floors above reality. Olivia stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching fog roll beneath the Golden Gate Bridge, her wedding ring catching the dying sunlight. 2 weeks, 14 days since she'd walked down the aisle toward Roman instead of Derek. 14 nights sleeping in the guest bedroom of her new husband's penthouse, separated by a hallway that felt like an ocean. "Your coffee." Roman's voice startled her from her thoughts. He extended a steaming mug, black ceramic, no handle, the way she preferred it. "You remembered." She accepted it, their fingers brushing briefly. "I noticed things." His gaze lingered on her face before shifting to the view. "The Vanity Fair reporter will be here at 11. The photographer at noon." Olivia sighed. "Another interview about our whirlwind romance?" The public remains fascinated. His mouth quirked. "People love to believe in lightning strikes and destiny. Is that what we're calling this arrangement?" Roman's expression cooled. "Call it whatever helps you sleep at night." The distance between them expanded again, that peculiar push-pull that had characterized their relationship since the wedding. In public, Roman played the devoted husband perfectly, his hand at her waist, his smile intimate when introducing her as "my wife." But in private, he maintained careful space between them, as if afraid to cross some invisible line. "I should get ready," Olivia said, retreating toward her room. "Wear the blue dress," Roman said. "It matches your eyes." The unexpected comment made her pause. "Since when do you notice my eyes?" "Since the first time you looked at me over a birthday cake at Derek's party 2 years ago," he replied, his voice so matter-of-fact that Olivia almost missed the weight of the confession. Before she could respond, his phone rang. Roman answered with clipped efficiency, instantly transforming into the ruthless CEO who'd made Blackwood Developments a powerhouse. The moment, whatever it had been, was gone. The interview went flawlessly. Roman crafted their narrative with precision. How he'd always admired Olivia from afar. How Derek had realized they weren't right for each other and stepped aside. The photographer captured them on the terrace, Roman's arm around her waist, her head tilted toward his shoulder. "Beautiful," the photographer praised. "You two have such natural chemistry." If only he knew. When the media circus finally departed, Olivia kicked off her heels with a groan. "I need air that doesn't taste like lies." Roman loosened his tie. "Take my car. The keys are by the door." "You're not coming?" "Board meeting in an hour." Olivia hesitated. "I thought Blackwood had Thursday afternoons blocked for your mother's charity foundation." Something flickered across Roman's face. Surprise, perhaps, that she'd remembered this detail about his schedule. "The foundation meeting was this morning," he said carefully. Curiosity piqued, Olivia found herself following him to his home office. "Then where are you going?" Roman paused, studying her with those penetrating dark eyes. After a moment, he seemed to reach a decision. "Come with me," he said. "I'll cancel the car service." The sleek Aston Martin wound through neighborhoods that grew increasingly weathered as they crossed the city. Roman drove with the same focused intensity he brought to everything, one hand on the wheel, the other resting on the console between them. They stopped before a dilapidated Victorian in the Mission District. Scaffolding embraced the building, and construction crews moved purposefully around the property. "What is this place?" Olivia asked as Roman led her through a side entrance. "A Blackwood Developments project." Inside, the contrast with the exterior was striking. The walls gleamed with fresh paint, and beautiful hand-carved wooden banisters climbed alongside the staircase. "This will be a community center," Roman explained. his voice softening as he guided her through rooms taking shape. Affordable child care downstairs, job training upstairs, apartments for single parents in the adjoining building. Olivia watched, in amazement as Roman greeted each worker by name, discussing details with genuine interest. This wasn't the aloof executive from the boardroom or the calculating man who'd proposed a marriage of convenience. This was someone entirely new. Mr. Blackwood, a young woman with vibrant braids, approached, tablet in hand. The kitchen equipment arrived, but the ranges are wrong. Show me, Jasmine. Olivia followed them to a spacious kitchen where industrial stoves sat unpacked. These are good units, Jasmine explained, but not what we specified for the culinary program. Roman frowned, examining the delivery paperwork. You're right, I'll handle it. The program starts in 3 weeks, Jasmine worried. Without proper equipment, my wife can help, Roman interrupted, turning to Olivia. She's a pastry chef, one of the best in the city. Olivia blinked, surprised, not just by the suggestion, but by the pride in his voice. I'd be happy to, she found herself saying, and I know people who might donate proper equipment. For the first time since their wedding, Roman's smile reached his eyes, transforming his face from merely handsome to breathtaking. Later, as they drove home in companionable silence, Olivia finally asked the question burning inside her. Why didn't you tell me about this side of you? Roman's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Because it doesn't fit the narrative people expect from a Blackwood. And what narrative is that? Ruthless, cold, profit-driven. His profile was sharp against the fading light. Derek was always the charming one, the one people wanted to believe in. Olivia turned in her seat to face him. Maybe you've been letting others define you for too long. Roman glanced at her, something vulnerable flickering in his eyes before disappearing behind his customary reserve. Maybe, he conceded softly. We both have. Part 3. Shadows of Truth. Olivia woke to the sound of rain tapping against the penthouse windows. For a moment, she forgot where she was, whose home, whose life she was borrowing. Then reality settled over her like the silk sheets twisted around her legs. A month into her marriage, and she was beginning to forget the reasons it wasn't real. Last night played through her mind. Dinner on the terrace despite the threatening storm. Roman telling stories about his college years, laughing in a way she'd never seen before. The thunderclap that had sent them rushing inside, breathless and giddy. The moment when he'd brushed raindrops from her cheek, his fingers lingering until something electric crackled between them. The almost kiss that both had pretended hadn't happened. Sighing, Olivia padded to the kitchen, surprised to find Roman already there. He stood barefoot in pajama bottoms and a faded Harvard t-shirt, making pancakes with the focused intensity he brought to million-dollar deals. You cook? She couldn't keep the disbelief from her voice. Roman glanced up, his hair rumpled in a way that made him look years younger. Contrary to popular belief, I wasn't born in a 3-piece suit with a silver spoon. Could have fooled me. She slid onto a bar stool, watching him work. The great Roman Blackwood, making pancakes on a Saturday morning, only when properly motivated. He placed a plate before her. Perfect golden circles dotted with blueberries, arranged in a meticulous pattern. What's the motivation today? Olivia asked, cutting into the stack. Roman's gaze met hers, unexpectedly direct. You mentioned last week that you missed your mother's blueberry pancakes. The simple statement knocked the air from her lungs. He'd been listening, noticing, caring in quiet ways she'd almost missed. Before she could respond, the doorman buzzed. A courier delivery, an unmarked manila envelope addressed to Olivia Blackwood. Probably another wedding gift, she said, though something about the plain packaging unsettled her. Roman returned to the stove while she opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a USB drive. Her blood turned to ice as she read. The truth about why Derek left. The truth about Roman's proposal. Ask yourself why he was so ready to step in. Access the video before deciding if your marriage is real. Her hand trembled as she looked up. Roman was watching her, spatula frozen mid-flip. What is it? His voice was too careful. I don't know yet. She pocketed the USB drive. Just business correspondence from the bakery. The lie tasted bitter on her tongue, but some instinct warned her to wait, to watch, to remember that the man who made her blueberry pancakes was also the man who'd built an empire on calculated decisions. Alone in her studio later that day, Olivia plugged the USB drive into her laptop. The video was a security recording from what appeared to be a private club. Dark wood paneling, leather chairs, 2 crystal tumblers of amber liquid. Derek and Roman, 2 weeks before the wedding. Can't go through with it, Derek was saying, his face flushed with emotion or alcohol. I don't love her enough for forever. Roman's expression remained impassive. Then end it now, before the wedding, before you humiliate her publicly. Mother would never forgive me. The merger with Winter's Fine Foods depends on this marriage. Olivia flinched. Her parents' specialty food business had recently partnered with Blackwood's restaurant division. But she'd never thought, never suspected. The merger paperwork is already signed, Roman said coldly. Your marriage is irrelevant to business now. Derek sighed. I just need an exit strategy that doesn't make me look like the villain. Roman swirled his drink, ice clinking against crystal. Perhaps it's time you took that extended European assignment. The gallery reception hummed with San Francisco's elite, tech billionaires mingling with old money, artists with investors. Olivia stood before an abstract canvas, champagne untouched in her hand, hyper-aware of Roman across the room. 3 days since she'd discovered the video. 3 days of sleeping behind a locked door, of avoiding his questioning glances, of maintaining their public charade while privately unraveling. Tonight's charity event benefited Roman's community projects, impossible to decline without explanation. So she'd donned a silver gown that felt like armor, smiled for cameras, and kept careful distance from her husband. You look miserable, darling. Eleanor Blackwood materialized beside her, immaculate in Chanel, her voice honey-coated poison. Trouble in paradise already? Just tired, Eleanor. Olivia had never been able to call this woman mother-in-law, even for appearance's sake. Eleanor sipped her champagne. I warned Roman, you know. Told him this impulsive marriage would end badly. Some people simply aren't built for our world. And which world is that? The one where marriages are business transactions and feelings are inconvenient complications? Eleanor's smile tightened. You really don't understand him at all, do you? Roman doesn't feel things like normal people. He calculates, strategizes. Every move serves a purpose. Including marrying me? The question slipped out before Olivia could stop it. Especially marrying you. Eleanor's gaze was almost pitying. Whatever fantasy you've constructed about his motivations, I assure you the reality is much simpler. Roman saw an opportunity and took it. What opportunity? Ask him about Veronica sometime. Eleanor patted Olivia's arm. It's always illuminating to understand the ghosts that haunt a marriage. She drifted away, leaving Olivia with more questions than answers. Across the room, Roman's eyes found hers. Dark, questioning, concerned. Despite everything, something pulled between them, magnetic and undeniable. Before she could process this, a familiar voice spoke behind her. You look beautiful, Liv. Olivia froze, then turned slowly to face Derek Blackwood, tanned from his European assignment, apologetic smile firmly in place. You have some nerve, she whispered, acutely aware of watching eyes. I deserved that. Derek winced. But I'm here to make things right. By showing up at a public event, creating a scene, how considerate. By telling you the truth. His voice dropped. About why I left. About Roman. The champagne glass trembled in Olivia's hand. "I've seen the recording from the club. I know Roman suggested you leave." Derek's expression shifted to confusion. "What recording? Roman didn't suggest anything. He threatened me." "Threatened? Said if I married you knowing I didn't love you, he'd cut me off completely. Disinherit me." Derek ran a hand through his golden hair. "He gave me a choice. Leave before the wedding or be exposed as the fraud I was." Olivia's mind raced. The video had shown only part of the conversation, enough to implicate Roman, but not enough to tell the whole story. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I saw the announcement about Blackwood's new charity foundation, with you as director." Derek's eyes held genuine regret. He's never let anyone that close to the company before. Not even family. "Whatever's happening between you two, it's real for him, and you deserve to know that." Before she could respond, Roman appeared at her side, his body radiating tension. "Derek," he acknowledged coldly. "I wasn't aware you'd returned." "Just got back," Derek replied. "Thought I'd congratulate the happy couple in person." The air crackled with unspoken history. Roman's hand found the small of Olivia's back, proprietary, protective. "If you'll excuse us," Roman said, guiding her away. "My wife promised me a dance." On the dance floor, his arms encircled her with careful precision, close enough to maintain appearances, distant enough to respect the invisible barrier she'd erected between them. "What did he say to you?" Roman asked, his voice low against her ear. "The truth, I think." Olivia met his gaze directly. "Which is more than you've given me." Something flashed in his eyes, pain or guilt she couldn't tell. "Not here," he murmured. "Home." The word hung between them, home, as if their shared address had become something more than an arrangement of convenience. The penthouse felt cavernous in the midnight stillness. Olivia kicked off her heels while Roman poured 2 glasses of scotch, sliding one across the kitchen island toward her. "Who sent you the video?" he asked without preamble. Olivia stared at him. "How did you—" Security flagged an unmarked delivery. "I had it traced." His jaw tightened. "It came from my mother." The revelation struck her like physical blow. "Eleanor sent it? Why?" "Because she believed it would end our marriage." Roman's knuckles whitened around his glass. "She's been orchestrating Derek's relationship since college. You were the first woman he chose himself, and the first she couldn't control. So she showed me a carefully edited conversation to make me believe you manipulated everything." Olivia took a shaky breath. "Did you threaten to disinherit Derek if he married me?" Roman's expression remained carefully neutral. "Yes." "Why?" "Because he didn't deserve you." The words burst from him with unexpected force. "Because I watched him take you for granted for 18 months. Because I saw how you dimmed yourself to fit his expectations. So you orchestrated our marriage instead?" Anger flared hot and bright. "Made me a pawn in your game with Derek?" "No." Roman set down his glass with deliberate control. "I gave Derek a choice. The rest, proposing to you, marrying you, that was never planned." "Then why did you do it?" Roman turned away, staring out at the city lights. When he finally spoke, his voice was stripped of its usual composure. "Because for 2 years, I watched you from the periphery, saw how your eyes lit up when you talked. About your bakery, how you treated every person in a room with genuine interest, regardless of their net worth. How you laughed without reservation." His shoulders tensed. "And I wanted, just once, to be the focus of that light, even if it wasn't real." The confession hung in the air between them. Olivia moved closer, forcing him to face her. What wasn't real, Roman? The marriage certificate? The shared address? Or the way you look at me when you think I won't notice? Something broke in his carefully controlled expression. "All of it. None of it. I don't know anymore." Olivia stepped back, suddenly certain of what she needed to do. "I'm going to stay with my parents for a while," she said quietly. "I need space to figure out what's real and what isn't, in this marriage and in myself." Roman didn't try to stop her as she packed an overnight bag, didn't offer platitudes or promises. He simply watched with those inscrutable dark eyes as she walked to the door. "Olivia," he said, as her hand touched the knob, "ask Eleanor about Veronica Chen." She paused. "Who is Veronica Chen?" "The woman Derek abandoned 5 years ago. The woman I failed to protect." His voice was flat. "The reason I couldn't stand by and watch history repeat itself with you." The door closed behind her with a quiet click, not the dramatic slam of a final exit, but the gentle closing of a chapter still being written. Part 5. Whispered Redemption. The little bakery nestled in North Beach had become Olivia's sanctuary over the past 3 months. Whisked away, occupied the ground floor of a narrow Victorian, offering artisanal pastries to a growing clientele of locals and tourists alike. Olivia piped delicate roses onto a wedding cake, losing herself in the familiar rhythm. The irony wasn't lost on her, creating perfect wedding confections while her own marriage remained in limbo. 3 months since she'd walked out of the penthouse. 3 months of silence broken only by necessary legal communications. The divorce papers remained unsigned in her desk drawer. The bell above the door chimed. Without looking up, Olivia called, "Be with you in a minute." "Take your time." The deep voice froze her hands mid-pipe. Slowly, she raised her eyes to find Roman Blackwood standing in her bakery, looking both out of place and impossibly right among her vintage fixtures and glass display cases. He'd changed. His bespoke suit remained impeccable, but shadows lingered beneath his eyes. His hair was longer, less controlled. He looked like a man who'd been wrestling with demons and losing. "What are you doing here?" she asked, setting down her piping. "Bag. Your parents told me where to find you." Roman didn't move closer, respecting the invisible boundary between them. "I needed to see you." "After 3 months of silence? You asked for space. I was trying to respect that." Olivia wiped her hands on her apron, acutely aware of the flour dusting her cheeks, the casual ponytail she'd thrown her hair into that. "Morning. The bakery looks successful," Roman observed, glancing around. "It is." Pride warmed her voice despite herself. "Turns out people appreciate quality that doesn't come with a Blackwood price tag." A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "I never doubted you would succeed." Awkward silence stretched between them, filled with unsaid words and unasked questions. "Why are you really here, Roman?" He reached into his jacket, producing a thick manila envelope. "To give you these." Inside were documents, financial statements, emails, text messages spanning back 5 years. "What is this?" "The truth about Veronica Chen." Roman's voice was carefully neutral. "And about why I intervened with you and Derek."